I knew I was forgetting something else that the narcissist did. When my brother passed away, my brother Sean passed away in 2019 from prescriptions pills. He had sickle cell. He was 28 years old. My brother passed away from prescriptions. So he the narcissist, the last time I seen my brother is with the narcissist on my birthday. We went to go take my brother to the doctor to go get his prescriptions. We took my brother to go get his prescriptions, and my brother ended up passing away after that. And I was sad and I was crying and everything. And he said, we was about to go to the riverfront to go chill. He said, we going home because I don't, if you're going to be crying and stuff like that, I don't want to be around you. We're not going to be able to go there if you're going to be crying and stuff. I'm like, this is my brother and you don't want me to cry. Like, he was so cold hearted. It was terrible. That was so horrible to tell a person that he didn't want me to cry because it was annoying him. When my brother passed away, he had met my brother one time. My brother was 28 years old. It was like he was jealous of my brother. He was like glad that my brother had passed away because he was jealous of my brother. Like, it's like, what, like, why would you tell someone that they not to cry when they brother had just died? Like, that was crazy to me. So he was a sick, psychotic person. That was so horrible. It's like, you made me feel even worse because if you my boyfriend, we like in a relationship, and somebody close to me passed away, you're supposed to comfort that person and let that person know that it's going to be okay. You don't make them feel even worse by telling them you don't want to hear them crying. But that, he was a horrible person. He was very, very sick, very sick. Hi everybody, thank you for joining my channel. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe. Thank you to all my new subscribers and my day one subscribers. I want to tap in real quick and talk about my relationship with a full-blown narcissistic man, a narcissist. This is pretty much, I met this guy in like 2019 and we really started dating like 2020. And so I that's when the term narcissist really became popular. So I didn't really know what the clinical term was. I was doing my research like I know many other people out there, women, and people was like, oh, he's a narcissist, you're a narcissist, he's a narcissist, he's a narcissist. Like, what is it? Like, am I just putting this label on this man and that's not him? This person was a full-blown narcissist because he was giving traits that were very concerning to me. I was doing my research. I'm like, what is wrong with him? Like, why is he like this? Like, what? Like, that something is wrong with a person, and you're like, what is he retarded? Is he slow? Is he disabled? Is he mentally ill? Is he bipolar? Is he schizophrenic? What is he? Is he a psychopath? Is he a sociopath? Like, what is he? Like, the covert narcissist I was with, he's a little bit of sociopath. He gives sociopath tendencies, and the full-blown narcissists give psychopathic tendencies. So yeah, you see the difference there. But anyway, back to this narcissist person. I left some things out, some very key things out. Let's just say this. When I met this young man, I met him on Plenty of Fish, the dating app. Don't judge me. This was in 2019. Okay, so he liked to drink. He was the type that he tried to use alcohol. I was in my alcohol days at that time. And he tried to get me drunk, and have sex with me, try to take advantage of me and everything. And he did that. And the one time we were mixing Jose Cuervo and Smirnoff Ice, and I fell down a flight of stairs. I was hallucinating. I woke up in the living room with no clothes on, butt naked, and I was the stairs had a sheet covering the stairs, and I was imagining walking on a beach and walking through a sheet. You know how they have the sheets on the beach, and I'm thinking I'm just walking through, and so I walked through there, and I fell down a flight of stairs, and I woke up. I had all blood all over me. That was the worst experience in my life. But I believe his apartment was haunted, and I believe that the combination between the alcohol and the bad toxic energy and spirits that was in that house, I think convinced me to walk through that to fall down those stairs, because I'm a spiritual person. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and I believe, like, people say that those spirits, when you drink alcohol like that, you or can become possessed or under the influence of some demonic force. Because I didn't even know how I got into that living room in that chair with no clothes on, and his door was closed, and he said that I had peed in the bed. He said I had cussed him out. He said I did all of this. I'm like, I don't even remember none of that. Like, I never been that drunk or intoxicated in my life. I was 40 years old when it happened. I'm 45 now, so that was 5 years ago. But yeah, so that was one thing. So that was a red flag. I fell down the stairs in his apartment, at the Narcissist apartment. That was bad. My mother thought that he pushed me down the stairs, but I'm like, no, he didn't do that. I actually fell down the stairs. But let's keep in mind, he was very narcissistic. And after that, I had stitches down my face. I had a black eye and everything. So I was looking crazy. And he brought a girl over there, like the next day, he brought a girl over there. I'm like, who is this girl? He like, she don't have nowhere to go. I'm like, huh? How are you just gonna bring some random girl over to your apartment while I'm here? It's like he didn't want to be around me because I had these stitches on my face and I had black eyes and everything. Like, he wasn't there in my time of need. Like, he was so cold. He didn't care about me. He didn't care how I looked. He didn't care that I fell down the stairs. He's very cold hearted, and he didn't have no sympathy for me at all. None whatsoever. He was just like, let me get rid of you. But once my face healed and everything, of course he came back or whatever. And but I want to say, first of all, he was adopted. He never met his mother. He was in special education. He was dyslexic. He couldn't read. He actually had a kitten when I first met him. He had a cat as a pet. And when I went over his house, and after I had stopped talking to him, and then I went back over there, and I was like, where's your cat at? He said he killed it. He said he killed his cat. He said he killed the kitten. He said he strangled the cat. That's what I was thinking about today. So this narcissistic person, this psychopath, he actually strangled a kitten. He told me this, and he was not lying. He was not playing. He actually have pulled out a gun around me and act like he was going to shoot me with it. Like, he was just like holding it around and everything like that, like trying to scare me. And he would always, he actually choked me, and he would try to, I used to smoke cigarettes then. And I would be smoking a cigarette, and he'd try to beg me for my cigarette. And I was like, I'm smoking. And so that made me want to quit smoking, because I was like, I'd rather give you a cigarette than you try to smoke my cigarette. He's like, no, I want to smoke your cigarette. Now give me your cigarette. Like, I could be smoking a cigarette. And he like, let me hit that. I'm like, I would rather give you a cigarette than you take my cigarette. Like, that was the control factor that he used to do. He used to try to just boss me around and just try to take my stuff, you know. And then, like, if we had alcohol or beer, he would try to hide it and stuff. He tried to make it like I can't drink it until he get there and stuff like that, try to manipulate stuff. And he actually turned the electricity off while I was in the apartment in the wintertime. He went to work. This before I had a job. He went downstairs, took the fuses out of my father used to do stuff like that. Unplug TVs, tear the cord off the wall out of the TV so we wouldn't have no TV to watch, turning off electricity. My father used to do abusive stuff like that. My father used to rip the phone cords out of the wall so we wouldn't be able to talk on the phone. Like, very demonic and abusive tactics to try to control a person and make them feel like crap. And I'm like, dang, that boy straight he would try to threaten to pour juice into the TV so it could break. We bought a 55-inch TV. He was acting like he was going to pour soda in it to break it, like that kind of stuff. He was so childish. And then he was so retarded and slow. He had a bag of rice, and he turned it upside down to see if it was open, and all rice fell on the floor. I'm like, it's a better way to find out if a package is open or not, rather than turning it upside down. But I'm like, you are so retarded. Like, he was so slow and dumb and retarded. And I also said, like, people that have been abused as a child or essayed or whatever. You know, I've been in my own situation in the past. One incident I had occurred with me, but I have healed and moved on from that situation. So people have to heal from that kind of stuff. You can't just take stuff out on people. Like, this person did not heal from his sexual trauma as a child. He did not heal from his sexual trauma as a child. So he was actually very much overly sexual, and he would try to use sex as a weapon. I would say, can you take me to work today? He was like, only if I have sex with him in the morning. Like, he would try to have sex with me at night, in the morning. I'm like, I don't even want to have sex that much. Like, it's not even enjoyable if you have trying to force a person to have sex with them every day. Like, what? I'm sure I'm leaving something out, but he was very narcissistic. He was a narcissist, and the straw that broke the camel's back. And my second baby daddy drove past the house one day, and he was like, he was checking on me, and he got jealous and he got mad about that. I'm like, yeah, just know that my baby daddy, like, I got people that know where I am. Like, people actually care about me, and if something happened to me, they gonna be on your ass. Like, don't mess with me like that, for real. Like, don't think that I'm just here by myself. You don't think that I don't have nobody to have my back or spin the block for me if something go left. Yes, so yeah. But he like I said, I made his house a home. I bought new shower curtains, I bought dish racks, I bought, you know, everything. I just helped that clean his rugs in his living room. He had stains all in his carpet and everything. I cleaned the carpet. I helped, you know, get his house in order, killed all the mice in the house. Like, all of that. I was actually cleaning up his life and all of that. But he tried to make me feel like crap and nothing. He purposely tried to belittle me. And one day he said that he said, are you gonna mess with somebody else, or what, you gonna try to be with somebody else or something like that? He was trying to act like he was jealous, like he was trying to say, are you gonna try to find somebody else, or you gonna be with somebody else? He said, are you going to be with somebody else? You want to be with somebody else? I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. He hit me in my head while I was driving, and blood started coming out my nose. And I have a scar right here. I had to get stitches. And so immediately I say, oh, you done messed up now. I called the police, and he jumped out of the car while I was on the phone with the police. He jumped out of the car and immediately hit the ground. And I actually... I was speeding. I was going like 35 miles an hour, and he jumped out of the car just so he wouldn't get arrested. And as soon as he fell out of the car, he hit his head on the middle of the street on the concrete. And I have a picture of it too. He fell on the street and hit his head, and he could not get up, and the police had to come, and he was actually in a coma for like 3 months. He had a breathing tube down his throat, and he had brain damage. And then he tried to call me while he was in the hospital. He like, oh, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. I'm like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was when I moved to my grandmother's house, and I never seen that person again. And I left St. Louis and moved to Houston after that. That was a very toxic relationship, a very toxic, horrible relationship. He was very possessed. He was a psychopath. He was really psychopathic, and I did not know what was wrong with him. And I actually try to take him to counseling, try to get some counseling for him, and that wasn't really helping or whatever. He was the type of person, every morning we would argue. Every morning he loved to ruin my day. Like, the start. I used to think to myself like, is there ever going to be a day where we don't get into it before, like, first thing in the morning? And would never fail. He always found something to argue about. He actually, when I was in the bed, he actually pulled all the sheets off the bed and flipped the bed over, and he poured soda on the sheets to ruin them so I wouldn't be able to get back in the bed. He would just straight try to torture me just for no reason at all. There's no reason to do that childish stuff like that. There was no reason at all, none whatsoever. But yeah, and we actually had 2 car accidents. It was ice on the street, and I told him, I was like, don't go down that street. I'm like, it's too, when we rode down the street earlier, it was getting icy, and then it was through a park. So the park did not shovel that snow. So he wanted to be ignorant. He wanted to be disobedient and go down the street anyway. He went down the street and actually ran into a light post, a lamp post. And he had to get a new door and everything. And then the other time we were leaving the library, and he came out of the parking lot, and there was 2 lanes of traffic, and he came out and he couldn't even see the car coming down in the turning lane. The car was coming down in the turning lane, and they hit the side of his door, hit his car. So we had 2 accidents together because he was ignorant. He was ignorant, disrespectful, and then he would sometimes speed really fast in the car, try to scare me. And I don't, that's why I don't like riding with certain people, because some people do stuff like that on purpose. Like when I came to the city that I'm located in now, I got in a vehicle with 2 different people, and they would speed purposely to scare me. And I'm like, please slow this car down. Please don't do that. Like, what is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? That's not funny to me. It's not funny to try to scare me. Because I'm team me. I'm on my side. So if you don't respect my life, like, that's not funny. My life is not a joke. My life is not a laughing matter. So I have children. I have a family. I have a granddaughter. I have a life to lead. Like, I'm not out here just playing in these streets. Like, what? Like, don't play with my life. Don't play with my life. Period. But yeah, he was speed, and he was very much over sexualized. He would smoke marijuana every day. He would spend $50 on weed, and $30-$40 on alcohol every day, and buy food. He loved to go spend money on extravagant food and stuff like that. And then he tried to flirt with women and try to make me jealous, and he would go over to this lady house and go smoke weed with her, an older lady. And then I actually had access to his phone information, like who he was calling. And I was like, he used to text women at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He used to work overnight at one point in time at FedEx. Like, I helped him get a job by filling out applications for him, because he had dyslexia. So I helped him get his food stamps, because I filled out his application for food stamps. I helped him fill out his application to work at FedEx. I actually helped him get a job. I actually helped him fill out his food stamps. I actually helped him get food stamps. I helped him get a job at FedEx, because he was dyslexic. And we actually went to a place to go fill out an application at a place, and I was trying to fill out my application, and he was getting an attitude with me because I wasn't helping him fill out his application. And he left out of the place. And I'm like, you are so childish. Can I fill out my own application first before you want me to help you? Like, it's not my fault that you retarded, slow, and dumb. No offense to anybody out there who's dyslexic, but if you're dyslexic, then you have to wait till I'm finished with my own application before I can help you. So he was dyslexic. He was in special education. He never met his mother. He was molested by one of his adopted brothers, and he still was in contact with this brother. And this brother ended up being gay. And I was like, why are you still talking to this boy? Like, why do you act like you cool with him after what he did to you? Like, you must like it. Like, did y'all have a relationship or something? Because this was your adoptive brother, so maybe you liked it. I don't know. You're not telling me everything that I need to know. And then I was in a relationship with him for like 6 months or something before he even told me that his parents were not his parents. Like, he used to go over his parents' house, his adoptive parents' house, and I didn't even know that he was actually adopted until like 6 months into the relationship. He just had a lot of skeletons in his closet that that you would tell a person, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? But he was this complete psychopath, not a sociopath. But I wanted to provide you all more information and details about that narcissist, and how he killed his kitten, and how I fell down a flight of stairs in his house when I was under the influence of alcohol, because he would try to get me drunk super drunk, mixing Smirnoff Ice and Jose Cuervo, mixing alcohol together. I've never been that drunk ever in my life at 40 years old. And how I helped him make his apartment into a home by buying sheets for his bed and buying new shower curtains and buying dish racks and helping him clean his apartment and killing his mice in his apartment and helping him get food stamps, helping him get a job, like actually help this man. And as soon as if we got into it, we used to go back and forth. I broke up with him maybe 8 times. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I used to catch the bus to work, and I'm like, why can't you take me to work? He wanted me to have sex with him for him to take me to work. I used to catch the bus and the Metro Link to work. Like, the Metro Link in St. Louis, I used to catch one bus and the Metro Link to work, like 2 buses and the Metro Link to work. And I'm like, why can't you take me to work? He like, I gotta have sex with him for him to take me to work. But eventually I had got my income tax check, and he had bought a truck. He bought a Ford Explorer, and I had bought it from him. And so, because he wanted to buy a truck, like a F-150, so he didn't want the Ford Explorer. So I gave him like $1,500 so he could buy a truck. And so I could so we basically traded vehicles. I gave him the money and he gave me the Ford Explorer. The Ford Explorer did never have no problems at all. It ran perfectly. And the truck that he bought, he went through 2 trucks after in that time frame, and my Ford Explorer never broke down at all. I sold it to somebody before I moved to Houston. And I was like, that's what you get, because you wanted to get rid of this Ford Explorer so bad that you wanted a F-150 so bad, or this truck, and they broke down on him and he couldn't get it fixed and all of that. But yeah, and I forgot another thing. He gave me a STD twice. That's another thing. I'm being real and transparent. Like, of course, I was in a relationship with him for a year, I believe, or 2 years or something like that, or at least a year. But of course, I was having unprotected sex with him. Don't judge me. And I tried to make him use condoms, and he didn't never want to use condoms. Thank God I didn't never get pregnant by him. But I went to the doctor, and I found out I had like trichomonas or something. And I'm like, he did that twice. He was a disgusting lowlife pervert, for real, because I went over to his house after he would break up with me, and he would have sex with another girl the next day, and I would be right back over there. And I looked on the floor, and he had a towel on the floor. It had all blood on it. So I knew he had sex with somebody on their period and didn't use no condom. He was disgusting and gross. I'm like, and then I would look in the trash, and he'd have some condoms in the trash. But of course, he wouldn't use condoms all the time because he gave me an STD twice. So those narcissists, I read about some narcissist relationship, how they do, and they have sex with random people. They like to, if they break up with you today, he had another girl over his house the next day. He would rotate, and these girls he would go back to his ex-girlfriend, and she would come back because she was a lowlife too, and she was his supply, and he would go back to her after he want to give me a hard time. He would just, start an argument and fight with me just to go be with her. Yes. So that was very toxic and very sick and demonic. Didn't know anything about narcissists and narcissistic. He would never hold himself accountable for anything. I mean, with all of that I described, there's no way to communicate with a person like that. A person that's just like is irrational. He just had no rationality. Like, you can't have a conversation with a person like that. He was just basically just using me for sex, and I just was in a bad place, in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I kind of sort of didn't have anywhere to live. I was living with my brother at the time, but I didn't really want to inconvenience my brother, so I had moved with that guy, and so he basically was taking advantage of me during that time and not And like I said, when I fell down the stairs, he just basically didn't care at all, and he brought a girl over there the same day, and I'm like, who is this person? And the girl ended up living there for 2 weeks or something, and they got into it, and he was like, he put her out. He actually threw my clothes and everything on outside on the grass because he wanted me to leave one time, and I actually went to a shelter. I actually went to a shelter, and then eventually I moved with my grandmother, and I never. I left him a few times, but I always went back. But the straw that broke the camel's back is when he hit me in my head, and he jumped out of that car, and he ended up in the hospital for 3 months. And his brother called me and said, what happened? Like, what did you do to my brother? And the police looked at the the cameras on the street, and they said, yeah, he took a fall. He took a fall that he didn't have to take. He took a fall that he didn't have to take. And they was that they was like, that's all his fault. They like, you didn't push him out of the car. He jumped out of the car. And people on the street was looking like they looking like they was looking at me like I was guilty of something. They like, he can't even move, he can't even get up. I'm like, dude, you don't know what he just did to me. He straight hit me in my head because something that I said. He didn't like what I said. I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He said, are you trying to be with somebody else? I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He hit me in my head. I was just being sarcastic. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, so he's saying, oh, you better not have no niggas at my crib where I'm going. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. He hit me in my head, and then I called the police. He jumped out of the car so fast and hit his head on that concrete, and that was a fall he didn't have to take. He took a fall that he did not have to take. But that was instant karma for him. So they say, touch not my anointed one, do my prophet no harm. He received instant karma when he jumped out of that car from hitting me in my head, because he thought he was going to get away and not be held accountable for assaulting me. He thought he was going to get away from the police and not be held accountable for assaulting me. But as soon as he jumped out of that car, he had instant karma. He was in the hospital for 3 months. But he survived, but that's something that he'll never forget. I'm sure of it. And I haven't talked to that person since. But anyway, I'm not going to hold you all too long. This is my story of being with a narcissist. And like I said, I didn't know anything about narcissists until I realized something was off and something was wrong with this person. And so I started doing my research, and he had all the clear signs of a narcissist. And he was a full-blown narcissist person. And yeah, something was definitely mentally wrong with him. And he definitely needs therapy and counseling, and maybe possibly medication, something. But anyway, remember to always keep the Most High first and be blessed. Bye.